Hi, I'm Susan Warshow, and I'm looking forward to talking with you today about a concept I've termed the therapeutic transfer of compassion for self, which is a process that I do believe is at the heart of healing. If you are a mental health practitioner, you might be thinking, well, of course I'm compassionate. That's why I went into the field. And certainly my experience having worked with hundreds of therapists over the years is that the vast majority do indeed care very much about their clients. But if we could for a moment be absolutely honest with each other, are there not a number of times in session when we're not feeling compassionate? Someone may be arguing with us, putting down what we're saying, or just not even responding to it. They may be shutting down so much that nothing we say seems to penetrate. They might be very argumentative, defiant, hostile. It can be sometimes difficult to remain in a state of compassion when we're being actively pushed away. And this is where the term came to my mind of warrior therapist. Because I have realized that so often I have to dig deep into my own inner resources to be able to stay present in the moment and to be able to tap into a very focused kind of compassion, regardless of what defenses are presenting themselves across the spectrum of psychoneurosis. I would also say that it is so essential that we be able to do the work and get the support and the practice and the training that we need to be able to achieve this state more consistently, because I do believe that it's going to have a significant impact on our results. Sometimes we may be very much feeling compassion, but that does not necessarily mean that we're going to be conveying it or in a way that is meaningful or useful to our client. A lovely woman comes to my mind who was quite depressed and fragile, and she said to me once that to be seen is the same as feeling ashamed. And the two were absolutely linked, and she found it excruciating to look into my eyes. I found that no matter how much I might express caring or compassion, she did not absorb it. She didn't believe it, and she didn't trust it. And so somehow I needed to find a way to raise her awareness of the ways in which she was projecting her own sense of unworthiness onto me. But I needed to find a way to do that that was not going to evoke even more shame and withdrawal. So I was seeking actually a specific type of compassion that would express my sadness for her having had the need to develop the kinds of defenses that she has. That sadness for the fact that she was carrying so much undeserved shame and fear, particularly about exposing her feelings, and that this was resulting in her feeling so isolated and alone, and also depressed. Compassion literally means to suffer together. Among emotion researchers, compassion is defined as the feeling that arises when you're confronted with another's suffering and when we have the motivation to relieve that suffering. It's not the same as empathy or altruism. We might just take a close look, though, at when we say motivation to relieve suffering. When I talk about the transference of compassion for self, primarily I mean a compassion for suffering that is related to the neglect or the abandonment of one's feelings. Let me emphasize that this is not a process in which one person is active and the other passive. It is much more like a passing of the baton from someone who exerts to extend the baton of caring for feelings to someone who may need considerable help to receive the baton successfully. People often don't know that their feelings have been treated like neglected children. My compassion often shows up as sadness for the pain of these forgotten children. They're typically covered over by defenses, shame, and anxiety. And the subsequent losses can be staggering. For example, a person who is quite detached may end up being left by their spouse. A marriage comes to an end and a family is shattered. Once my clients can see that I suffer with them, often they will begin to care about their neglected feelings too, and they'll want to begin treating them differently. This is where the will to more fully engage in the therapeutic process comes online. So here we're talking about a therapeutic partnership. We know from significant amounts of research that the therapist's ability to facilitate affective expression is strongly correlated with positive outcome. It becomes extremely important to be able to inspire people to release their defenses along with states of shame and anxiety that are so distressing, and to recognize that this is going to be necessary if they want to truly value the full range of their emotional rainbow. To be able to do this, we do need to be in a state of embodied compassion that goes beyond the verbal manifestations of that. There are so many nonverbal, implicit signals that we are communicating all the time, such as what does a person see when they look into our eyes? What is our body language? Are we moving towards or away from? Are we actually emotionally engaged? Are we aware of what's going on within ourselves and giving ourselves caring attention as much as we want to give it to our client? Because really that kind of attunement towards both ourselves and our clients is going to be so necessary for us to be able to move into this state that I call embodied compassion. When I speak about the look in our eyes, I will say that I have had many clients actually be brought to tears in response to what they see in my eyes. Apparently, it is a look that holds them, that is tender, and that allows them to tap into some of their deepest longings and unmet childhood needs. I see your eyes, and I see the compassion that comes from them, and I remember to be present and real in my gentleness, to stop the self-hatred and stop the sabotaging personality from making me miserable. My dear colleague, Bridget Quevedo, is a member of the Deaf Institute faculty. And in just a moment, she is going to be doing a role play with me. She shared with me recently that a client told her that she remembered Bridget's tone of voice during their sessions, and that when she started becoming harshly critical, she would tap into the sound of Bridget's voice, so that literally her vocal tone had become a resource for her. So Bridget and I look forward to demonstrating the therapeutic transfer of compassion for self in the role play right now.
Yeah, I'm just kind of feeling kind of, down. Um, Yesterday, I had this thing with my husband where he just totally blew up, started cursing at me. Um, he's
Hmm.
playing with the dogs and they were being loud, and I was on the phone with my sister, and I couldn't hear, and so I asked him to be quiet, and he started telling me how ridiculous I am and how critical I am, and then he just like stormed out and didn't even
Oh,
say
goodness.
goodbye. And yeah,
That must have been really painful for you. I mean, how were you feeling when he, started cursing at you and just walking out on you? How did that feel to you?
I don't know. I mean, look, he's probably right. I'm sure there was a tone in my voice.
Yeah.
And, he works hard. He needs to be able to relax. I mean, there's some validity to what he's saying.
There may well be, like validity to what he may be needing and what you're needing. But I really am wondering about where your feelings go there. Because again, I'm imagining you must have had a lot of feeling. And I'm also hearing that you started to get depressed. And I do think that if when your feelings get shut down, it's going to contribute to this terrible depression you've been suffering with.
Yes, I mean, I just felt stupid. Like, why do I have to be so needy? Why can't I just like
Hmm.
be,
Hmm.
cooperative?
So it seems like whatever you may have been feeling toward him begins to actually turn on you, and you start to find a lot of fault with yourself.
Mm,
And it just seems like that completely crushes whatever feelings you would have been having in those awful moments when he was cursing at you. It just seems like your own feelings are completely off the radar, and my sense is that this is costing you a lot because you're suffering from depression, and I think there's a connection there.
yeah,
Hmm.
I guess my feelings are always off the radar, or always have been off the radar.
That's how it feels to me, that they're always off the radar, as though you don't exist here.
Yeah.
And you know what? I sense this sadness in you, and I also feel sadness for you, that your feelings are treated like they're so insignificant. And it just occurs to me I mean, if your daughter, your little girl, had come home from school and she told you about some bully who had humiliated her in front of all the other kids, and she came home trembling and maybe even hating herself, in obvious distress. I'm
Yeah,
wondering how you would respond to her.
I'd pick her up and I'd comfort her and hold her and reassure her, and I'd probably find
Yeah,
out who the bully was and call the school and make sure
yeah. This
something.
this seems very much like who I know you to be.
Yeah,
You have a great capacity for caring and, being very attentive to your daughter's needs.
yeah,
But would you agree, when it comes to you, it's like there's just no consideration, anything like that. And I'm wondering what that's about. I mean, are you not worthy of the same kind of care that she is?
I don't think I ever got the same kind of care that she does. I mean, my dad used to lock me out of the house when I cried.
Uh-huh.
Go away until I stopped being such a little baby.
Oh my goodness. That is so sad. I am so sad for that you would have had to have gone through that. At a time like that when you're so vulnerable, you're in pain, and you're saying your dad just, um, uh, rejects you, pushes you out. I just wonder, could we have compassion for you, for that child that you were, who was left so alone with her emotional pain?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. It sounds sad. I don't feel sad.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I have the idea, like if I look outside of myself and I see that happening to a little kid, that does sound really sad.
Mm,
But it's hard to see myself as that little kid.
mm. And yet you were, yeah, yeah, it's painful. I really encourage you to just stay with what you're feeling. Yeah. Mm, yeah. You want to just tell me anything that comes to you about this sadness you're feeling right now?
It feels
Mm,
like the sadness of like wanting what my daughter has, like wanting to know that I could cry and that somebody would just pick me up and hold me, and um,
yes, of
that it
course.
would be okay to cry.
Of course. You want to be held and cared for as I would. I would too.
Yeah.
How could we not? And I'm just really appreciating that you're able to share your sadness with me right now. And it really, my heart is going out to you.
I can feel that.
It truly is. And yeah, I wonder tell me more about how it is for you to let me be with you in your sadness.
It feels good. It feels comforting. It feels like it's okay.
Yeah, it's more than okay with me. Could you just tell me a little bit about how you experience how I'm feeling and responding to you?
It feels like it's more than okay.
Mm, mm,
Like I'm welcome.
mm,
Like you're interested. Like you want to hear.
mm.
Like it's safe.
I am so glad. Do you get that I care?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can only say that I surely do.
I believe it. I feel it. I believe that.
I think that's wonderful. You and I can have a very different experience together in welcoming what you feel, very different from what you learned from your father. Because I do believe that you learned from him to completely um, turn away from your precious emotions. Something you would not do if it were your own child. And we're seeing that you and I, together can have a very different experience. And the two of us can actually show up for you and create this place where your feelings are welcome and more than that, valued. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.